Welcome to Club IDIC. Tonight we will be watching yesterday's Enterprise from Star Trek: The Next Generation and discussing Do Choices Change a Destiny? Please enjoy this meeting. Hi.
Yes. How you doing, Heather?
I'm all right. How are you?
How do I look?
You look lovely.
Yes, I'm out of uniform. Not that it matters.
Of course, it doesn't matter as long as you're wearing clothes.
No, this is not a Betazoid wedding.
No, it's not. So, how was the Picard virtual premiere? And yes, you have to talk about it.
Oh, that was fun.
Not spoilers, of course, but how was the experience? How did you feel, etc.?
Well, I'm not telling you. You saw my video, so you already know. Saw the video I did.
I
You
did.
know I don't do spoilers.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I got in. You know, they had this little chat window on the right, kind of like the Zoom conference, typing things.
Yeah.
After the first episode, they had kind of like interactive segment, the bar trivia.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, like a human bartender and an Andorian that was like drinking a lot. And they would ask people in the audience questions. Okay, oh, so-and-so, oh, you're from Brooklyn. What's Brooklyn? The Andorian's like, what's a Brooklyn?
The snarky Andorian.
Yeah.
Maybe a descendant of Shran.
So that the actress would read the question, get the answer. She and the Andorian would banter back and forth. And then they showed episode 2, which again, I say nothing.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, all I say is looking good. That's all I will say.
Well.
And I thank thee for the tip.
I'm so glad. And you know what? The 7th rule is actually aware that I sent you because I explained on Twitter that I sent you because I wasn't able to go myself, not living in America. And the 7th rule saw that and they liked that tweet. So they know that I sent you. And so it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, thanks.
So now we're both important. I love that. Yeah. So tonight's topic, do choices change a destiny? I personally think that each of our choices that we make either creates our destiny, alters it, or absolutely wrecks it.
And the question you posed, if I could go back and change something, would I?
Yeah.
Short answer, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, I would rethink my college major.
I don't remember if you've ever told me what you did in college.
Well, some of the time I've spent in college, I have a BS degree, which is total BS, come to think of it.
It's a Bachelor in Sciences. Wow, I love that. Explains why you're so gosh darn smart. I love that about you. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, look at your experience. I see you posted a thing about surviving your first missionary assignment.
Yes, and from 2013 to 2014, I was a humanitarian worker at a bishop's storehouse, and a bishop's storehouse is where people who don't have food can go get food. So I was basically feeding the starving and the hungry for a year.
Where at?
It's a little place in my city that's not far from where I live, actually.
Okay, somewhere outside Lethbridge. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Well, it's in Lethbridge. Lethbridge is quite big. And yes, and I was very proud to be doing it. I'd like to do another one, and I thought about doing another one, but then COVID hit, and it's been very disastrous. But maybe someday I'll get to do another one somewhere, because I myself grew up very poor, and a lot of the time, sometimes we didn't know where our food was coming from. We got, well, because my dad didn't work, as far as I've been told, for the first 8 years of my life, because of his addiction. And so my mom had to work. We got hampers from Salvation Army and friends and everything. And so my mom worked 2 jobs for a little while and looked after me and my brother. And sometimes, and a lot of the time, even when we were teenagers, my brother and I, we didn't know where our food was coming from. So we utilized the same type of place to get lots of food and made sure we never went hungry.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I'll tell you this. My uncle, he volunteers at a church pantry.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. I mean, and yes, they do encourage people who take from the church pantry to come and give of their time to say thank you for taking from the church pantry.
Well, my uncle never took from the pantry. He just distributes food at the pantry.
Yeah, some people can go and serve missions at they call them missions. But it's like, it's not something I would ever take back or do over or anything like that, just because it was an experience I needed at the time, but I want to do it again. Just there were stresses in my life at that point in time that I needed something to make me feel better about myself and about life, because I wasn't at a point in my life where I was feeling good about myself. So I needed to do something to uplift myself.
Spiritually as well as like emotionally.
Both, yeah.
Oh, right. And talking of missions, you figured out what you're gonna do next month?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see. The
You
border's
do
in a
know.
very precarious place, and I don't know yet. May have to sit it out. Yeah, but there's always Vegas. It might be a little better by then.
Yeah, well, my neck of the woods, they're talking about lifting some of the vaccine mandates for restaurants.
I don't know if we're quite ready for that.
Your choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think I would go back. Let me put it this way. In keeping with tonight's topic, I would love to have a word with my younger self.
So would I. There were choices I made in college, trusting the wrong people and allowing myself to be treated poorly in situations that I shouldn't have allowed, but I was too love-starved, and I allowed bad things to happen to me that shouldn't have happened. And I allowed myself to be treated very poorly in certain years. Yeah, we should have chats with our younger selves, and I suppose that's kind of what happened in the episode, isn't it?
Yeah, funny thing, I'm reminded of a Doctor Who episode called, I think it was called Turn Left. Basically, that was the doctor's companion, Rose Tyler. She was like driving on the road. Basically her history was she made a right turn at the crossroad. She went to see this guy and everything, blah, blah, blah. But some beetle creatures that mess up with the timeline had her turn left at the crossroad instead of right. And you know, also the temporal insanity ensued with like events going the wrong way and stuff.
Oh,
You'll kind of see that in tonight's episode.
yeah, like Tasha was originally killed by Armus, and then all of a sudden the Enterprise C comes and she's back alive again, and she learns of her death in the original timeline, and it's like, wow, I'm not supposed to be here. Can I change what happens to me now? Oh, have you not seen it?
I remember it.
It's like I get a second chance to change my outcome.
No, that's why time travel stories fascinate me.
Exactly.
If I could, I would.
And you know, I suppose we can apply this to the pandemic. If we could go back to the beginning of the pandemic, I think the response could have been different. People could have been faster in shutting the world down, so it wouldn't have been such a disaster and gone as widespread as it did.
Yeah. I won't get into the whole politics of the matter because of what type of group this is.
Oh,
But
if you must, if you want to, that's okay. Safe space. If you want to.
well, this thing is being recorded for the public,
Okay.
so
But
you have
it's
to
like the
kind of mediate.
response, I think, I'll say it then. I think the response could have been better. I think the shutdown should have been faster. I think the information should have gotten out faster so that people could have made more responsible decisions. And that's a diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to shift blame. I'm just going to
Yes,
say
yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah, and it's like Star Trek, so many things happen, and it's unfortunate that things happen the way they do, and a lot of people don't get a second chance to rewrite their history, but Tasha Yar does.
Yes.
And we do see the consequences of that later on. We'll get to that episode later on. But
yes, assuming we still have Netflix in the United States, I got your message.
yeah. And hopefully people will be able to sort it out and manage to get Paramount Plus, and we'll sort it out.
Well, like our friend, not Tasha, our friend from the American Midwest.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I've given people enough notice that hopefully they'll be able to sort something out. Because I still believe that this group has a purpose. I still believe that people need this group. There's enough going on in people's lives and in the world that they need this group.
Yeah, I guess it's partly advertising, partly, just getting things organized on a more club-like level.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I think. And when it comes to things like that, I try to answer in a diplomatic, vague fashion. It's a little trick I picked up from Princess Diaries.
What?
Giving polite, vague, diplomatic answers. You need
Oh
to
my
watch
God.
Princess Diaries, Anthony.
That's my what the F moment right there. Creation obviously lost the rights to Star Trek, save Vegas. So Creation only does one Star Trek convention a year. And yet looking at their website, there's like 15 Vampire Diaries, 15 what the hell? What were you watching again?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to be able to go in August. I mean, I'd like to go to Reed Pop, but if COVID settles down, maybe I'll get to go to Reed Pop in the future. That's the goal.
Yes. Okay, I'm looking at creation. They got 15 Vampire Diary conventions, a whole bunch of supernatural conventions. They got Stranger Things conventions, even a freaking soap opera convention. And I'm in a Star Trek drought here, Heather.
I know, but you know what? Creation is a very good, I've worked with them before. They're a very good company. They work very hard, and whatever they've done now,
Yeah, past
it'll be
tense.
wonderful.
Because creation, that was my first sci-fi convention back in 1993.
Yeah,
I think I told you about that one.
I'm trying to rack my brain. My brain is tired. I've been
Well,
volunteering.
that little spat with Brent Spiner.
Oh, I'm digging through the Rolodex. You may have to recount for me.
Yeah, basically he was headline. I saw his freaking blurb while watching Star Trek on TV. This little 10-second blurb, like sped up, it looked like. I barely managed to jot down what the announcer said. Okay, Star Trek convention, New York, Penn Plaza, blah, blah date. So me persuading my mom to take me because Brent Spiner was headlining. And basically my what the F moment with him is he wasn't signing any autographs. He wanted to hawk his Broadway musical, 1776. I could read about that in a history book. So I was bummed. I heckled him a little bit. I'm lucky he didn't throw me out the building.
Oh, well, I think Brent Spiner has a sense of humor.
Oh, I guess he got bills too, because the next time I saw him at Mission, New York, he was finally signing autographs.
Well, Brent Spiner, from what I hear, is a very nice guy. And
Really?
well, I've heard he's a bit of a germaphobe, but you know what? When I met him, he put his arm around me for a photo, and that's very kind of him.
When was that, may I ask?
It was either Star Trek Las Vegas 2016 or 2017.
Well, I'm talking about Brent Spiner, 1994.
Yeah, Star Trek The Next Generation. I think it was either over or just finishing.
Yeah.
It was pretty new, hot stuff, so.
Yeah, but finally I kind of got back at him for that.
Yeah, so. And, I'm hoping, speaking of Brent, is he on the cruise with everyone?
Ain't never been on the Star Trek boat, dear.
Neither have I, and I don't know if I'd enjoy myself on that. I'm not sure. It sounds very, very interesting, but it doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Earl Grey or peppermint?
I'm not sure. Peppermint, probably. But no, just I don't know. I mean, people say the Star Trek cruise is great, but if I'm going to go on a cruise, I'd like to go on a nice big cruise with plenty to do. Just I'm not have to worry about extensive crowds and lines all day, and I don't know. Cruises don't sound that enticing to me overall.
Well, I've been watching Titanic lately.
No, I'd rather go to an actual place and explore a place, and instead of just being on a boat all the time.
Right, and those like 3 days of Star Trek people in the main stage.
Yeah, I'd rather just explore places and see landmarks and things like that. I'm weird though, but
Yeah, kind of feels like people feel between the devil and the deep blue sea.
exactly. I don't know. I like conventions better. There's a little more room to move around and things like that.
Not really, depending on the venue.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, I'm still thinking, remember Mission New York? When Reed Pop first got the license for Star Trek?
I don't. But you can tell me about it.
That was about like 5, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now they're doing Mission Chicago. Hold on, funny crazy thing about Mission New York is like I felt that after a very long time, Heather, I was home.
That sounds awesome. I wonder if they'll make it a yearly thing now that.
If they would come back here again, that would be nice.
I'd make the trip. I wonder if they'll do one in Canada. That would be so fun.
Toronto, anyone?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Calgary would be even extra special.
Because
Calgary's a very, very popular city. Yeah.
So where would you be if you turned left, so to speak, on Vegas that one time?
Where would I be if I turned left on Vegas? What do you get? What do you mean?
Okay, again, keeping it with this discussion about the choices we make. So let's say you did not volunteer to go here for Vegas. What would you have done instead?
If I didn't go to volunteer for Vegas, I probably wouldn't have done anything. It was something I had planned to do. Actually, the first time I tried to apply to volunteer for Vegas was 2014. And then I had to pull my application because I had found out that my father was dying of cancer. And so I had to write and say, I'm sorry, I have to pull my application. And so I pulled my application, and then I didn't get another chance to try until 2016. And I was like, what the hey, I need to do something impulsive. And I was able to, my mom was remarried and everything was taken care of. I was finally in a position to be able to do it. So I did it, and I'm glad I did it because it's a wonderful experience. And then in 2017, after that, I got diagnosed with endometriosis, and then I just needed time to take care of myself and stabilize myself, but I kept applying, got waitlisted. And then we had the pandemic, got waitlisted in 2021. So here we are at 2022. And I don't know, it would be nice to be able to go back. And just have a little bit of normalcy in my life again. And that's, I can't imagine not doing it. I can't imagine the road not taken, because there's other things in my life that I can't imagine the road not taken, because those options are just pretty much not available. And those aren't choices. That's what is. And I'm not going to risk my life to make that choice, because risking my life to make a choice is not something I can comprehend.
Yeah. Yes, I remember. Yeah, the whole thing about you having children.
Yeah, like I was told it would make me very, very sick, and it would be very hard to get me back to the point where I'm at. And I remember the struggles it took me to get to the point where I'm at. So I'm like, okay, I'm not wanting to get very, very sick. I'm not wanting to struggle again to the point where I'm at, because it took me so long. It took me 5 years, 6 years to get to the point where I'm at. I'm not willing to throw that away just to try something that might not work. And to try something I don't even have a significant other in my life. And even if I did, I'm not willing to throw feeling good away for something that might not work. And that's the road not taken, but the road I'm on is a healthy road. And it's like, I'm not willing to step off that road just for something that might not work. I mean, it's the road not taken is having children, but that road is not an option. And it is what it is.
Mm.
And I know that sounds so callous. Does that sound callous?
No.
It's not, it's the road not taken, but it's the road I'm on. And I can either sit in the bushes and cry and be sorrowful, or I can accept it and simply work with what I've got and take the road that's there and make the best of things. And the road that I'm meant to be on will open for me.
Hold on a second.
Sorry. Anyway, you know what? That's kind of what I wrote about in that essay that we talked about. Like, I can either sit and cry or just keep going, and the road that I'm meant to take will open for me. And I do think about the road not taken, the road that I can't take because it would be dangerous. But the road that I'm meant to take will open. And it's like, you know, Star Trek is interesting. It's fictional. This whole episode is like, maybe Tasha was meant to take this road because this door clearly opened for her. The Enterprise C came back and she was given the second chance to go and choose whether or not she wanted to accept this meaningless death or go and make her life mean something. I don't know. And Picard was also given the chance to choose whether or not he wanted to let Tasha accept this meaningless death or let Tasha go and make her life mean something. He didn't want to let Tasha go into the Enterprise C. He wanted to just keep things as they were. But when she explained her wanting to do something more and make her life mean something, he was like, all right, your life is your life. Sorry, I'm babbling.
Well, there's nobody else here, so don't
That's
feel
true.
too. Even though I will say this looks like certain people have decided to take other roads without me going into too much detail.
That's true, but you know, we cannot control the choices of others. Even though Picard certainly did try, he wanted to preserve Tasha and in his own way. But Tasha had her own way of making her life mean something, and she wanted to get that across to Picard. We can't control the choices of others, but we can control how we respond to the choices of others.
Yes.
And if we respond to the choices of others with grace, perhaps we will come out the winner. And we will look better in the long run. But probably enough philosophy for me for a while.
Well, you started it.
I did. But seeing as it's 30 after, I don't know if anybody else is joining us. Would you like to get to the episode so we can have some more to talk about in an hour?
Yeah, hold on a second. Alrighty.
Have I answered all the questions you have, or do you have other discussion points before we get to the episode?
Not right now.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I will see you after. How did you enjoy it?
Hi, where do I even begin with this one?
That's the road not taken.
Yeah. Well, this was a good season 3 story, but then again, it was produced by Ira Stephen Bear.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when a ship is out of place and out of time. Then the Federation stays at war with the Klingons and everything goes to chaos and Tasha Yar's alive again.
Yeah. And no, you remember talking about going on different paths, number one. Now the episode the two-parter reunification.
Yes, I do. I remember it. Sela told the story. A Romulan general was entranced with Tasha's beauty and offered to spare the lives of the crew of the Enterprise C if Tasha became his consort. Unfortunately, Tasha tried to sneak out with Sela in the middle of the night, and Sela cried out because she didn't want to be separated from her father, and so Tasha was executed.
Yes. And between reunification and this episode, a thing that was said by Denise Crosby herself is if they writ more interesting scripts for her, she would have stayed with the show.
Oh, goodness. Well, I think it was a very
written out in season 1, hence the whole Argus thing getting killed by an oil slick.
Shows take time to find their feet. And it's like, what could be more interesting than the road not taken, especially in this case? I mean, this created an interesting dynamic for Tasha because she was the consort of a Romulan general, and she ended up having a half human and a half Romulan child who was actually quite prominent in storylines. This, as I recall, this Romulan general was allied with the Duras sisters.
You're getting this from one of the Star Trek novels.
I believe like she was allied with them on screen as well. Lorsa and Betor.
We're getting help from Sayla and the Tasha Yar.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that Tasha choosing to transfer to the Enterprise C and having her death mean something led to all of this. And in a way, Picard was responsible for all of this coming to pass as well, because he allowed Tasha to transfer instead of just saying, no, you have to stay on the D and we have to keep you, instead of you being allowed to be responsible for your own destiny. Anyway, what were your favorite parts of the episode?
Well, that other captain died right quick.
Yeah.
So that was almost like an empty death.
That was an empty death. I mean, it was a sad death. She was determined to go back and fight tooth and nail, but I suppose that made Tasha even more determined to go back because she saw that Captain Garrett died an empty death, and that's like, that motivated Tasha to think about, how did I end up in this other timeline? What was my fate in this other timeline? And
I got killed by Exxon Valdez.
who? I don't know who that is.
Okay, oh my God, I'm just coming up with very dry, witty things tonight.
Oh yes, okay. But
yeah,
it's like,
Valdez, oil slick.
oh, but Guinan says you're supposed to be dead. And I don't know how you're supposed to die, but I know it was an empty death, a meaningless death.
Yes. Well, that's an LRian for you. And I don't know, if you were to, okay, let's see, we can do this before April, right? When you told me going to cut off Netflix and cut off Star Trek from Netflix in America.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yeah, remember Time's Arrow?
That's on the schedule.
Oh.
It is. I can actually check to see when we're doing that if you like, because
Okay.
I do remember sticking it in there. Let me see. Times Arrow is scheduled for, because I remember somebody mentioning, and I just felt it was a good episode because it talks about Guinan's existence and how Picard and Guinan became so close and why their relationship is so special. I put Times Arrow for March 18th.
Oh.
Yeah, it fit the theme. And it's a favorite of mine. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's a little behind the scenes bit. Originally, they wanted to do like Star Trek 4, go back to modern day LA or San Francisco. But
Yeah.
somebody in the production team decided, no, we've already done that, Star Trek 4. So somebody came up with the bright idea of going to the 19th century.
That seems more Patrick Stewart's like thing anyway. I think he'd enjoy himself more doing that because he's a very Shakespearean type person.
Yeah. Oh, you're telling me, when is Picard season 2 going to be around your neck of the woods?
I think I have it. I've just been so busy. I just haven't watched the PBR yet. I need to watch the PBR. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to say nothing.
I will. I'll watch it. But, you know, this is interesting. This whole Road Not Taken episode. And it's interesting. Picard season 2 actually revisits the Road Not Taken. And it's interesting how that unfolds. We don't see it quite yet.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of the road not taken. Again, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, don't, please.
Yourself.
But the Road Not Taken starts with Worf and Guinan sitting alone together. In 10 Forward, Guinan offers Worf a prune juice and they have a friendly debate.
What?
And then this anomaly appears.
Yes. Okay, how is prune juice a warrior's drink? You know, it has to be, I don't know. When I heard that, I could just picture Worf being on the toilet for 5 hours, having a digestive issue.
But, you know, he really just takes a shine to it because he carries the love of prune juice over to Deep Space Nine and Quark makes fun of him for it, if I recall.
Oh, what about the one that drinks root beer? A human drink.
I believe Garrett called it insidious.
Oh man, I think I might have had a chance to see Andrew Robinson.
Oh, really?
But again, that was like back in my teenage years.
Oh, yeah.
Back when Deep Space Nine was still on.
Oh, that's...
Again, let me see something. I've met, let me see, from the original cast, I got all 4 surviving cast members. Shatner, Nichols, Takei, Koenig.
Uh-huh, me too.
Yeah, I got Majel Barrett before she passed. And James Doohan.
Oh, that's lucky.
From this one, I got LeVar Burton, who I follow since Reading Rainbow. Brent Spiner, I told you the story before the screening.
Yes.
I've met Patrick Stewart.
Oh, that's so lucky. I wish I was as lucky.
I'm going to WinterCon next week, but I've already met Denise Crosby.
I have not. I've seen the virtual cons where she is, and she seems so lovely.
Yeah, so I might get to look at her in person again. I've got Michael Dorn.
Oh, my mother is obsessed with Michael Dorn. Like, she loves him. It's amazing. She just loves him.
Lindsay, Picard, LaForge, Data, Yar, Worf. Yeah, so yeah, that's gonna be a myth. And DS9, I got Odo, Quark, Jadzia Dax, and that's it.
I've not met any of them in person.
Yeah, what like I said, it sucks. Avery Brooks is not doing conventions anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Ever.
well. I mean, those are roads I have yet to travel in those aspects. And, you know, maybe miracles will happen where I'll get to meet more people associated with Trek, but
Hey, I would like to meet Ira Stephen Bear. If oh yeah.
that would be amazing.
How's the phrase go? If stars were wishes or wishes were fishes.
If wishes were horses.
Thank you.
There's a Deep Space Nine episode title that's about that. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, so this episode unfolds. It's like the road not taken is a wish. And it unfolds that the anomaly comes. And then, you know, we see the regular bridge bright and happy. Everybody's chilling like they usually do in the episodes, right?
And I'm amazed how quickly they were able to redress the whole bridge set.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the ship pops out, everything goes dark. Worf disappears, Troy disappears, everybody's standing there in uniforms. The other seats are gone. Picard's seat is alone. Everybody's dark. Tasha's in the background. Worf's gone. Troy's gone.
And you do remember how the log entry was phrased.
Battle log.
Combat date.
Yeah.
Instead of star date.
Mm-hmm. And they were in a war with the Klingons. They were losing the war with the Klingons.
Remember what the man said, 6 months.
Yeah. Just because of Narendra 3.
Yes. And those horrible, horrible Romulans who have no honor.
No, they really don't. And it's quite unfortunate that like the sea ended up in the wrong time. And so everything is shot to crap. Billions of people dead. I believe it was. Yeah, billions of people dead. And Guinan's still there. Like, basically, she's a barmaid.
Yeah, 40 billion people.
Yeah, 40 billion people dead. And how is Guinan still there? She is a barmaid on a combat ship. I mean, why does a combat ship need a barmaid? That is so unusual.
Well, I guess in the alternate timeline, they cared not for the mental health of the crew, but, well, you can still get a drink.
That's true. I mean, it's interesting that everything that happened, Guinan is the one thing that stayed consistent. What is that on your wrist?
What, this?
Mm-hmm.
It's my heavy metal bracelet.
Well, that's a nice bracelet. I've never seen it.
And you do know, it should be painfully obvious now what one of my favorite genres of music is.
Not really.
Okay, metal thingies, metal horns. What do you think?
Noted for future reference.
But if they had like a death metal band made up of Klingons, that would be something.
I think there's Klingon operas.
Yeah. I haven't lived until you've heard Macbeth in the original Klingon.
I think they talk about Klingon operas in the Undiscovered Country. Don't they?
Yeah. That's where that came from with General Chang.
Like, I think Klingon and Cardassians are on the same level of sophistication in terms of their culture. Like before the war, I'm sure they had high levels of culture, but Cardassians probably lost a lot of culture after the war, the Dominion War.
Yeah. I've never read A Stitch in Time.
You know, that book is so hard to find, and I would love to get a copy, but they're rare.
With Garrick.
I would love a copy, but they are very rare and very expensive. Yeah, anyway.
So yeah, what do you think? So you've already heard my thoughts.
Yeah, they find this, the ship comes out, the D scans it, they find the C, and they're shocked, and they want to go help. And they eventually go help. They argue about helping. Oh, well, let's screw up the timeline. But Picard is eventually overruled and gives in. And they're like, all right, we'll go help.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, having someone that can have a perception outside of time.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, eventually Guinan comes to Picard and says, okay, this is wrong. This timeline is wrong. The ship doesn't belong here. This is a road not taken experience. You need to send the ship back because this experience, this whole situation is wrong. This is an alternate timeline and we do not belong here.
Yeah. What the heck? Oh, so I'm looking at my pad here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'm looking at Amazon. A Stitch in Time on the Kindle. Just a fake Kindle. Da, 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 da. Oh, this sucks.
It's expensive and it's rare, just like, you know, the path not taken experiences are.
I tried.
It's okay. I'll look for it through the library. Anyway, yeah, like experiences like that rarely come about both in life and in Star Trek, right? Like there was one in Discovery, and I had a Discovery episode planned, but the one who suggested the episode couldn't make it, so that episode will have to be later on.
Okay. Which of your recurring guests would that be, man?
Jake.
Jake?
Yeah.
Yes,
but we can hold that episode later.
Okay.
It's like, it's something, you know, we can always adapt, and that's something we're capable of. And this is just as good as an episode. And it's really about learning about the path not taken. And this is a really good episode for that. Like the sea people are like, what happened? We were at this, we were answering this distress call, and what happened? What's going on? And Picard is like, okay, we didn't hear this. And Picard is thoughtful to understand that this ship answering this distress call could have prevented this war. And he begins to understand that this ship could have prevented this war. And he eventually comes around to see Guinan's line of thinking. But the rest of the crew is doubtful.
Well, in their view, they've always been at war. Because remember the primitive bipedal creatures on that ship don't have temporal perception.
That's true, but even in this timeline, and I find it interesting, even in this road not taken, Picard trusts Guinan above all else.
Yeah.
So they must have had the experience where they met somehow and
Yeah.
became close.
Or I will say this, check out Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 2.
When it comes out, I will. I don't have it yet. But I mean, they honestly, the sea people had a right to be concerned because this was their road not taken. They expected to be able to fight to the death, and suddenly they were in a place where they weren't dead. And suddenly they had lives to look forward to, but they wanted to go back and fight and die with honor.
Yeah.
And they weren't satisfied. Like Guinan pretty much said, this is not the way it's supposed to be, but you know what? I think for Tasha it was, because it was her opportunity, and this is writing, yeah, this is interesting writing, but yeah, it was her opportunity to right what was wrong, because she didn't deserve an empty death.
Yeah.
And so she chose a different way, and she ended up, I mean, Romulan captivity, and it is a captivity. She wasn't there because she was in love with the general. She was there because it was better than death.
Yeah, and because the Romulan dude had a hard on for her, obviously.
I mean, nobody's with a Romulan. Well, maybe somebody's with a Romulan because they love Romulans, but Tasha wasn't with the Romulan because she wanted to be. She saw it was the only way to spare her crew from death, her crewmates from death, and because it was better than execution. Although I think the Romulans maybe killed them anyway, because Romulans are just, they're deceptive people, just like the Cardassians. And it was, being a consort was somewhat better than death, although probably not by much.
Mm.
But she eventually decided to try and escape. But the problem was her daughter acclimated to the Romulan lifestyle, and she didn't want to leave her father. And so her daughter decided to be loyal to the Romulans and to her heritage.
Are you planning on screening come on, that name is on the top of my tongue.
Redemption?
Yeah.
Some point. Put a request in.
Well, you really do want to meet Denise Crosby, don't you?
I do. She sounds like an absolutely delightful, lovely person.
Yeah, crazy thing. Funny thing is, when I met her bunch of years back, she had her son with her, and I'm like, look at her, like picture her kids running around. She's like, "Oh, stay where mommy can see you."
That's amazing. You know, I would love to take those opportunities, but you know, I don't always get to travel roads because the opportunities aren't there. So I just travel on the roads that make themselves available.
Yeah, the road that's in front of you.
Yeah, just because not every road is available for me to take, it's not accessible, and I make the best of what roads are there.
Yeah, like trying to go to mission, go on the Chicago mission.
Oh, that would be
after the other
amazing.
mission.
I'm gonna cry. Oh my God. That would be amazing to do, but it might not be a road that's available right now. And it is what it is. It doesn't change my love of Trek. It doesn't change how I feel about Trek, but it may not be an accessible road. Oh my Lord. Thank you for the tissue. Yeah. But I do hope that people that get to go enjoy themselves. And hopefully there will be a Star Trek convention in my future this year. That's the hope.
Yeah, and I know I can still hear in your voice that party, like, take me with you, damn it.
I don't mean to cry, but it's just, it would be nice. But you know, yeah.
Mm.
You know, I mean, that's why I apply to work at cons sometimes, because it's a little cheaper that way to go, and at least you get to see things even if you have to work. But If you don't want to get accepted to work, then there might not be a way. I mean, I could afford tickets, but it's just everything else. So, and at least I tried, and if I didn't, that's a road not taken. Everything else is beyond my control. Yeah. And so the road not taken for the Enterprise Sea crew, at least they were determined to fight to the very end. They knew that going back was death. But they would rather die than just stay in a place and screw up timelines. And
well, they're dead either way. He said
yeah, and then live with the death
meaning.
of billions on their conscience. Because if they stayed in the timeline of the Enterprise D, then they had the death of billions on their conscience. And it would just be terrible. How would you feel if you suddenly ended up in another timeline where you weren't supposed to be, and where other billions were dead that were not supposed to be?
Well, I'd stream a whole series of obscenities.
Yeah. And it's like they were so determined to make the best of what they could do. They were so determined to take the choices to keep things in their control, even if things were very dire. And that's what we should all do. Even if things are very dire, we should just keep a cool head. And even if choices are very hard, we still need to make choices, like responsible choices. We don't need to be irresponsible just because situations are dire. And I mean, a lot of people do that. They just are like, even though people can be responsible, they choose not to be in dire situations. And it's very hard to be responsible in a dire situation, but it's very important to be responsible in a dire situation. Because in a dire situation, you have a lot of decisions to make. And you need to have a cool head, right?
Yep. Heck, even me dealing with issues right now, as me being a fictional captain. And yes, I'm aware my rank is meaningless outside of this fandom.
Well, it's not meaningless to you.
Well, I've been with this organization since 2004, ever since I had my associate's degree.
It's not meaningless to you, so it's not meaningless.
Yeah, I suppose to outsiders, I'm a wacko wearing a sci-fi uniform.
You're not a wacko. You're someone who's very in love with something that's involved in science fiction.
Yes.
So take pride in that and don't call yourself a wacko, or I'm going to whack you.
Well, but you're gonna like reach your hand into the TV and then like strangle me if I don't know.
No, I won't strangle you. I'll haunt you in your dreams.
But you have like a striped sweater, like nails and stuff.
Maybe. See, I made you laugh. And I mean,
well, you were crying a minute ago, now you're laughing.
Yeah. It's important that, you know, the road not taken not be seen as a solemn occasion. It may be solemn, but we need to find a little bit of reason to smile and just find a little joy in it, even though it may not be joyful to look at it. It might be chaos, but we need to find a little bit of joy in it. I mean, even Tasha and Castillo, they found time to talk to each other and socialize and flirt. Yes, they were flirting.
Yes, and that on-screen kiss.
Oh, the kiss. They found time to kiss. In the middle of a war, they found time to kiss.
And like I was saying earlier, Denise Crosby was saying, we had Ira Stephen Bear write these scripts, she would have stayed in Next Generation. instead of begging them to get rid of her. I guess like she says, this my role sucks. Kill me now.
That's true. I mean, but it's the way that it happened. And it's interesting to note that this episode, she made the most of it. And it was a very good episode. And the fact that Castillo and Tasha found time to socialize in a difficult situation, that's showing that they took the situation seriously, but they remembered to be human as well. They remembered their humanity. They remembered that they weren't just mindless robots fighting a war. They remembered that they were human, and they took time to feed their mental and emotional health, and remembered to care about themselves and each other enough to take a moment.
Yeah.
Are you all right? You seem tired.
Well, it is 21:47 where I'm at.
Well,
Yeah, you in your mountain time.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but
Why are you apologizing? Now you're the one I'm telling. You always tell me not to apologize for things. Now you're apologizing for things.
and you know, they probably flirted as they were headed back.
Oh, you'd love to read that, wouldn't you?
They would. I would, but you know.
Okay, her man got killed by the Romulan dude. Oh, you coming home with me, Romulan daddy.
Like Tasha's choice changed her destiny and the destiny of countless others, because, you know, one stone thrown in a pond creates a ripple effect.
And then the ripples bounce off other things and cause more ripples. And the path a drop of water would take amongst the ripples can change in ways you can't perceive.
So we always need to be aware that our choices shape our destiny.
Yes, I think what they call the butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect.
I think it goes something like this. A butterfly flaps its wings, which blows pollen in somebody's face, who sneezes, that scares a dog, that chases a cat, that stops in front of somebody's car and causes them to go off for a bridge. And then the guy dies, his son dies, and his son doesn't get to be the president, and we get into a war with aliens. And the aliens just like massacre the solar system, all because of that butterfly. If the butterfly would have gone somewhere else, none of that would have happened.
Oh, well, that's interesting. And so if Tasha hadn't been killed by Armus, what would she have done instead? Probably nothing extraordinary.
Well, they would have had to figure out what to do with Worf, because they made him the security of the tactical.
Exactly. Worf wouldn't have gotten the chance to grow had Tasha not been killed. So Worf gets to grow, and then eventually this anomaly happens where the Enterprise C comes through and Tasha is semi-resurrected, and then eventually chooses to go back in time 22 years and makes the choice to become the consort of a Romulan, has a daughter.
I think that's like your favorite thing, because you said that like 8 times already.
Well, so what? Captain's prerogative. And then that's the ripple effect. That's Tasha's new road. She was no longer killed by Armus. She was a Romulan consort, and that is history now.
Yes.
But I wonder if she was actually killed, or was she just reported killed, or was Sayla just lying?
And would you write a fan fiction about that if it hasn't been published already?
I have written a fan fiction about it.
Of course.
And it may or may not involve Julian Bashir. You know what? The road not taken is very interesting. And if I never became, you know what? My writing career started at the age of 6.
Go on.
I had my first piece published when I was 6. And I don't think I could imagine doing, like, I thought about becoming a doctor at one point. I thought about becoming a teacher at one point, but I was a teacher at one point, actually, not like academic wise, but I was a teacher at one point, a volunteer teacher. But I don't think I would have made anything better than what I've already been and what I'm already doing now. Just because I'm doing very well, like the road not taken is, I can't imagine, like my road's not taken. I imagine that I'd be married in my 20s, having 10 kids, and obviously I'm not doing that. But as I sit back thinking about how I was in my 20s and my life circumstances, I'm very grateful that I didn't take that road, or that road didn't work out, because it wouldn't have been a happy road. There was just too much instability in my life and in myself that
I can see that
it would have fallen apart. And I would have fallen apart.
Again, I can see that happening.
But I'm a lot better now at 34. The instabilities in my life are gone. And I don't have everything that I hope to have. And I don't think I will, but I'm doing very decently at this age. So, and it's like, I have to be grateful for what I have and what I can do. And the road not taken is not always the best road for a person. And sometimes, I mean, you can wish it all you want, but sometimes the road not taken is the best for that person. Like, it's better that you don't take the roads that you can't access, and you can't waste your life wishing for that road that you didn't take. Because sometimes it is a waste. It's better to just experience what opens itself to you instead of just wishing for what you never have. And and Tasha is guilty of wishing for roads not taken a little bit, because she did that. She spent a little bit of time in the episode questioning Guinan and talking to the captain about what happened to me in another timeline. I'm not supposed to be here. I want to go make a difference. I want my life to mean something. And she got her way. She got to have her life mean something. And then we get some sort of blip in the regular timeline. So, but that's not what everybody gets all of the time. So we don't always get to see the road not taken for us. And sometimes we need to be happy with the road that we have. What are your thoughts?
Well, you pretty much heard all my thoughts already on the subject. But it's not like I can go look at that other road and then come back to this one.
No.
So I couldn't really speak on the subject from that point of view.
Like, we don't have time travel. We can't go back and look how our lives would have been different if we took a different road or made different choices. Sometimes some things are completely beyond our control, and we can either accept that some things are beyond our control and just get on with life with what we have available to us, or cry about it and waste time.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I've already cried. So you seem tired.
Yeah, I think we're the only ones here right now. For me, it's almost 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep you awake, so I think, do you think
Give
this is a good point to
them
end at?
Well, let me just end with this. The road not taken. It could be a bad thing. It can be a good thing. It can be a crazy thing. It can be a boring thing. But just remember, somewhere out there, somehow, you're probably doing the stuff you wanted to do and you did. Right?
Yeah.
If you're into the whole multiverse theory.
Yeah. Yeah, the road not taken isn't always what you're meant to explore. You should focus on the road you're on and the opportunities you have, and not always focus on what you don't have. Be grateful for what you have and can do and can be, and don't waste your life pining for what you don't have.
Yes, and I forget the episode's name. It's also Next Generation. Talking what I just threw at you a moment ago. The episode where Worf was bouncing around between multiple realities.
Parallels.
Huh?
Parallels.
Parallels, yeah. Where you get to see like eight different roads.
Yes, where he's married to Troy and has children.
Yeah, but I'm done messing with your head for the week.
No, that's exactly right. The episode where he's married to Troy and has children, and that's the episode Parallels.
Yeah.
But please focus on the road you're on. Don't focus on the road that you desire. Focus on the road you're on, and eventually you'll want to be there and love it for what it is.
I don't know about loving it, but
come what may and love it. That's a beautiful quote that I've heard before. Life may not be what you love right now, but it's what it is, and you can make the best of what is and thrive despite it.
Yes. All right, Heather, let me let you go.
Yes, have a lovely night. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure to have your company.
Oh, thank you, and you're welcome.
Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you so much for coming to this meeting. Live long and prosper.